taking it back to the beginning, man. Like, how would you said like a Sun Valley, a Boulder Crest? That's not too far from y'all, but would you say Edgewood or breaking? I'm not from
Edgewood
Atlanta.
kind of like the harder zone seat.
Yeah.
Edgewood, Kirkwood, 2nd Avenue, parts of Moreland, Reynoldstown, shit like that is like more in the hard. But then some people argue with you and be like, parts of Decatur not zone 6 because they don't got actual Atlanta police. Like in Atlanta we rep zones, but them really are police zones. So if you look on a piece of paper from if your car get towed, it gonna show what zone you in. Zone 6, zone 3, zone 1, zone 5. So that's what we claim. So we zone 6, we actually got zone 6 police. But when you go on the Boulder Crest, some parts of flat shows and on back Counter Road and shit like that, they rep zone 6 too, but they don't got Atlanta police.
The DeKalb County?
It's Decatur, yeah, DeKalb County, you know what I mean? But we accept that because they so close, you know what I mean? So we like, fuck that, y'all zone 6 too, you know what I mean? So it really make us bigger than any other zone, you know what I mean? Because we got the real actual streets that's zone 6. On top, we got parts of Decatur that rep with us. You know what I mean?
What about like a Lithonia or Stone Mountain? That's still just east, but not East Atlanta.
It's east side, but it's not East Atlanta at all.
I've heard people say.
Yeah, but really on the east side, everybody would damn near say they from zone 6. Going east. They like, fuck it, we zone 6. You know what I mean? Like, just cuz.
No, you said Kirkwood, so that's Little Mexico.
Yep.
But Edgewood. So
Edgewood and Kirkwood like a mile away from each other.
Okay.
We damn near connected. Like all of us went to school together. Everything. We like cousinhood. Like East Lake Meadow. Oh yeah, East Lake Meadow too. But East Lake Meadow like in 2nd Avenue, like on the border. Kirkwood is too of DeKalb County in Atlanta. Like it's borderline. You know what I mean? Like if you get locked up in zone 6, you gonna go to the DeKalb County jail. You know what I'm saying? But it's Atlanta police, but they gonna take you to the DeKalb County jail. You ain't gonna go to Rice Street, you know what I mean? In Fulton County. So it's like that.
Man, I was talking to somebody earlier. They were saying like one of the first gangs to come said, I think they said it was like in the East Lake Meadows area.
Down by law.
How did you know I was about to?
That's the only gang kind of like that was like a gang that was on the east side.
Because they was asking me, they was like, so what gangs is in this area of Tennessee, blah, 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 blah. And they was talking about it wasn't really gangs at first in Atlanta. It was more so like we rep this hood or this area. Then they just started coming in. But they were saying that was the first one.
Because it used to be like the projects in Atlanta was so big, that was like a gang in itself. So like it'd be the Perry homeboy, Eagle homeboy, John Hope boy, Carver homeboy, Harris home. You know what I mean? Like the projects and shit were cracking so hard and they be so deep. Them like gangs. You know what I mean? Like where you from? But the east side ain't had it. It was like just East Lake Meadow, Edgewood, Kirkwood. You know what I mean? But East Lake was like a big ass project, but Edgewood is like townhouses, duplexes, apartments, and houses. Kirkwood basically kind of the same way. So it was like more of a community. You know what I mean? It wasn't just a full project. You know what I mean?
So it ain't like a Boyd Homes or nothing.
Nah.
More so like a Bankhead, I guess, or nah.
Nah, like Bankhead is just a long ass street.
Oh, that's not a community.
So it's a bunch of shit
okay.
on Bankhead. Like it's few projects on Bankhead. You know what I mean? Born Home. There's a lot of shit around Bankhead.
But you said so. But you said Edgewood is like the heart of Zone 6.
Yeah.
I'm asking for somebody who not familiar with the area.
Edgewood, East Lake, Kirkwood. I feel like we like the heart of Zone 6.
You seem like you take pride in being from there, dog.
I do.
Not Zone 6, not saying you don't, but you take pride in repping Edgewood.
I do, but I grew up in Eagle Home too on the west side.
Oh, you bounced around?
I was just in Eagle Home when I was younger. But you know, they tore down all the projects. But my family, like on my dad's side, I always had a whole bunch of cousins and shit and family that were from Edgewood. So I was always known and familiar with Edgewood too. But then they tore Eagle Home down. So by the time I started getting bigger, like 14, 15, I started being in Edgewood a little more, even though I still come to the west side, but
Sure.
that's what I started repping, Edgewood. Like, when we like, this is where I'm from, you know?
And that's a like a townhouse. That's not an actual neighborhood. That's like a house.
Edgewood?
Yeah.
Edgewood, townhouses, houses, and apartments.
See, that's why I'm
Like, we got a set of apartments in Edgewood.
Yeah.
We got duplex houses, like 2 apartments stuck together, and houses. All this shit just mixed up in like a radius.
Okay. So what's Mason Ave? Where is that? That's within Edgewood.
Going between Edgewood, a street, the main street in Edgewood.
Okay, because I was wondering, I heard.
Yeah, that we
Big
rep
Black say that.
Mason Ave.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mason Avenue. That we'll say we from Mason Avenue.
So from the west to the east. Hold on. So you started. You said
Started out on the west.
and then relocated, but as a kid though,
Yeah.
to East Atlanta. So what was it really a major adjustment for you?
Nah.
You-
Nah.
Because you still was young, you know.
It wasn't no major adjustment because I still knew everybody, like, and I went to school on both sides, like I pity patted, like back and forth on West School, East Side School, and West Side School because, you know, my mom and she was on drugs. So sometimes I'd be staying with my grandma and be on the east side. Sometimes I'd be staying with my mom on the west side. And I'd go to school here 6 months, go to school here 3 months, go to school here 3 months, like type shit. So I always moved around. Like I went to Jessamine School on the east side as I did the west side. Like I went to Douglas High. I went to E.R. Carter. Shit like that. All that's on the west side. I went to what it is? Was it Thero High? Some shit like that. That's down about East Point. I went there. I went to Cream High. I went to Cohen Middle School, Whitefield Elementary, all them on the east side. So I knew a bunch of folk from school and shit already, and just from living everywhere. Like, we bounced around as kids. We bounced around. Like, you know how when your mom and them on drugs, y'all ain't staying nowhere long, you know what I mean?
So it wasn't a 2-parent household for you.
When I was real young,
But after that, it just.
it was just, my mom and dad broke up when I was probably about 9, some shit like that.
Yeah.
They broke up when we were about 9. But I used to be staying with my grandma, which is my dad's mom. So I'd be staying with her, then I'd be back at mom's house, and, just back and forth.
If you don't mind me asking, was she ever able to kind of shake that?
Yeah, my mom been off drugs now, going on 30 years, like
Oh, that's
20.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
Like 27, 28 years, some shit like that. She shook that shit. You know what I mean? She shook it. My dad did too. My dad a deacon. You know what I mean? To this day, my dad a deacon. But my mom got off drugs like probably 10 years before him. You know what I mean? But he wasn't never just like no junkie. He worked every day.
Function.
You know what I mean? Like, be fresh as hell. You wouldn't even, from looking at him, you wouldn't even know he was on drugs. You know what I mean? But he was. You know what I mean? Only thing, like, we knew, because, like, you ain't coming up like you should. You know what I mean? Like, for the work that he do and the amount he get paid and shit, he get paid good money. So, like, he just ain't coming up. But he kept himself up, like, clothes and, you know what I mean? He always looked good and shit. So you wouldn't know. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But he ended up shaking that shit too.
For sure.